Good morning.
Welcome, Professor Dr. Ashok Kumar Gupta, sir. Today we are here to be organized in this conference. So we are here with our Chief Managing Director, Research Foundation of India, Professor Dr. Ashok Kumar Gupta, sir. Please welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. आप सभी को मेरा प्रणाम, नमस्कार। मैं प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर अशोक कुमार गुप्ता, CMD RFI। मैं अपने आप को बहुत गौरवान्वित महसूस कर रहा हूँ कि आपने मुझे इस कार्यक्रम में बुलाया और यहाँ के जो भारतीय भाषा, साहित्य और संस्कृति में राष्ट्रीय एकता इस विषय पर सुनने और बोलने के लिए मुझे सौभाग्य मिला। हम सब जानते हैं कि देश की एकता के लिए एक भाषा का होना बहुत आवश्यक है। इससे अधिक आवश्यक है देश भर के लोगों में देश के प्रति विशुद्ध प्रेम और अपनापन। अगर आज हिंदी भाषा मान ली गई है तो इसलिए नहीं कि वो किसी प्रांत विशेष की भाषा है, बल्कि इसलिए कि वो अपनी सरलता, व्यापकता और क्षमता के कारण सारे देश की भाषा हो सकती है। यह ऐसा देश है जहाँ विभिन्न जाति, धर्म, भाषा, संस्कृति के लोग मिलजुल कर रहते हैं। अनेकता में एकता ही हमारी भारतीय संस्कृति की विशेषता है। यह ऐसा देश है जहाँ विभिन्न जाति, धर्म एवं संस्कृति के लोग मिलजुल कर रहते हैं। भारत की संस्कृति एवं परंपरा राष्ट्रीय एकता व अखंडता का आधार है। इस सम्मेलन का उद्देश्य इस क्षेत्र में हाल में हुई प्रगति के बारे में जानकारी का सबसे पूर्ण और विश्वसनीय स्रोत प्रदान करना है। ये सम्मेलन इस क्षेत्र के विषयों की एक विस्तृत श्रृंखला को कवर करता है। अब मेरा यह सौभाग्य और सम्मान है कि मैं इस सम्मेलन के लिए उपलब्ध सभी गणमान्य अतिथियों का, उपलब्ध वक्ताओं का, संसाधन प्रदान करने वाले सभी संस्थाओं और व्यक्तियों का और विषय विशेषज्ञों का स्वागत करता हूँ। मैं RFI के अध्यक्ष डॉक्टर सौरभ जैन का भी आभारी हूँ, जिन्होंने इतना अच्छा कार्यक्रम आज यहाँ पर आयोजित किया है। मैं डॉक्टर अजय जैन और RFI तथा आयोजन संस्थाओं की पूरी टीम का भी आभारी हूँ। मैं इस सम्मेलन में अपना योगदान देने वाले सभी लोगों और इस प्रशिक्षण कार्यक्रम को सफल बनाने वाले सभी प्रतिभागियों का आभारी हूँ। आपके धैर्य के लिए धन्यवाद। पुनः आपका आभार, धन्यवाद, प्रणाम, नमस्कार।
Sir, actually, in this conference, that is the hybrid mode conference, near about 200 participant has connected with offline mode. So only actually there is a 2 days for the online mode, today and tomorrow. So offline mode, near about 200 participant has already connected with us. So this conference is on hybrid mode. So thank you very much, Professor Ashok Kumar Gupta, sir, for their speech. And please proceed the technical session from the Yogras. Please maintain the technical session. Thank you, sir. Yeah, for technical session, Mr. Dr. Jitendra Dhaka ji, you can proceed your article for the presentations.
Hello, hello. Am I audible? Yes, yes, sir. Actually, good morning, everyone. Actually, I was not aware that I am the first to present because I have not got the schedule yet. I have joined in WhatsApp recently. Anyway, I can can I present my paper in MS? This is in MS Word, full paper. Can I share my screen? Is it visible, sir? Yes, sir. So let me do this. Yes, sir. My topic actually with two author, Suparna ma'am and Jitendra Dekha is myself. And my topic is unity in diversity, the intersection of intergender identities in Indian culture. Basically, we have written on this topic. My PhD is also in transgender issues, so that's why I have chosen to the transgender issues relating to Indian culture and the unity in diversity. Sir, in introduction page, I have just tried to focus on Indian highly rich culture and how it is called the land of unity and diversity, and it is a vibrant and mosaic of cultures, language, religion, such. It is a dynamic and multicultural state, India. So, where the boundaries of identity have been fixed. The seminar paper examines intersection of transgender identities with Indian culture, tracking their historical roots, their representation in mythology and literature, and their evolving status in modern India. Our paper argues that the transgender community amplifies India's ethos of diversity, serving as both a mirror to its ancient and it lenses through which it to view its contemporary struggles. By exploring this intersection, this paper seeks to illuminate how transgender individuals navigate a society that reveres them in tradition yet often rejects them in practice, offering insights into the border dynamics of unity and diversity in India ongoing narrative. Sir, we have tried to give some historical context of transgenders from ancient India. Transgenders identities have deep roots in Indian history. Um, Predating colonial influences in Hindu mythologies, figures like Ashravingara, a composite from Lord Shiva and Goddess Parvati, that is called Hargauri. This is called Hargauri also, and symbolize the fluidity of gender. The Mahabharata features also Sikhandi, a character born female who transforms into a male warrior playing a pivotal role in Kurukshetra. Similarly, in Ramayana also includes references to Hijras, which call in India Hijras who mourn Lord Rama's exile. And beyond mythology, historical records also indicate that transgender individuals held esteemed positions in royal courts during Mughal era, and they are been participated in holy situations like someone's born some and known the historical acceptance also underscores a cultural framework where gender diversity was not an aberration but a recognized aspect of human experiences. But as time passes out, but as time passes out in British rule, the dignity of transgenders started to downfall as per my as per the research. And then we have indicated cultural significance where it is related to issue as performance and community. In Indian culture, transgender communities, particularly the Hijrais, have carved out distinct roles and that blend spirituality, performance, and social functions. They are often invited to bless newborns and new weds. I have just said, like in Mughal eras, newborns and newlyweds, a tradition rooted in the belief that their prayers carry divine potency. This ritualistic role positions them as in intermediates between the human and the divine, a status reinforced by their association with deities like Bahuchara Mata, the Param goddess of Hijras in India. Performance arts such as dance and song also form a cornerstone of Hijra culture. Their public performances at festivals and gatherings are not merely entertained but act of cultural presentation, echoing India's long-standing tradition of expressive diversity. The Hijra community itself operates as a tightly knit social structure with gurus like teachers, the gurus of them, and chelas like disciples, forming uh, familial bonds that provide support in the face of societal exclusion. The communal resilience mirrors India's broader cultural emphasis on collective identity within diversity. And then we have added colonial disruption. As I have said that transgenders have started decline of their dignity in colonial era. And this is we have write a paragraph on this also. Colonial disruption and post-colonial challenges. The arrival of British colonial rule marked a turning point of transgender communities in India. The Criminal Tribes Acts of 1871 labeled Hijras as a criminal tribe, associating 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 them with intermorality and vagrancy. This legislation this legislation, informed by Victorian gender norms, disrupted their traditional roles, and pushed them to the margins of society. They have been periphery. They have been periphery. The colonial legacy left a lasting imprint as post-colonial India inherited a legal and social framework that stigmatized gender non-conformity. In contemporary India, transgender individuals face significant challenges, including discrimination, economic exclusion, and violence. Despite their cultural visibility, many Hijras resort to begging or sex work due to limited access to education and employment. And even they have been they are facing many problems in hospitals also. This tension between their historical reverence and modern marginalization reflects broader struggles with diverse society to reconcile tradition and modernity. And then we have write it on legal and social process in India. It is basically on India legal and social process, a step towards inclusion because they are excluded during British rule. Recent decades have witnessed efforts to restore the dignity of transgender individuals in India. The landmark 2024 Supreme Court ruling in National Legal Services Authority versus Union of India recognized transgender people as a third gender for the first time in India, affirming their rights to equally education and employment under the Constitution. This decision drew on India's cultural heritage, citing references to gender diversity in ancient texts as evidence of their rightful place in history, in society. Sorry, in society. Subsequent legislation, such as the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act of 2019, aimed to further safeguard their rights, though it was faced criticism for inadequate consultation with the community and insufficient provisions for affirmative action. Socially, transgender voices are gaining uh, gaining prominence with figures like Lakshmi Narayan Tripathi, a prominent activist, and Joyita Mandal, India's first transgender judge, and challenging stereotypes and advocating for inclusion These developments signal a gradual shift towards aligning India's legal framework with its cultural ethos of diversity. Then, then we have right on intersectionality, transgender identities, and Indian diversity. The transgender experience in India intersects with other excess of identity such as caste, religion, and region, amplifying both their challenges and their contributions to the nation's diversity. For instance, Hijra communities often include individuals from lower caste, compounding their socioeconomic struggles, yet their presence across religious traditions, Hindu, Muslim, and Sikh, demonstrates a uh, syncretic adaptability that mirrors India's pluralistic identity. This intersectionality also reveals the limitations of a uniform approach to transgender rights. Policies must account for regional variations, such as the Aravanis, what is called in Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu, they are called Aravanis of Tamil Nadu, which who participate in the Vagam festival, or the Jogapas of Karnataka dedicates the goddess Yelamma. Recognizing these diverse subcultures within the transgender community is essential to honoring India's unity in diversity. And sir, let me conclude my presentation with the conclusion part. The intersection of transgender identities and Indian culture embodies the paradox of unity in diversity. Historically celebrated and mythologically enriched, transgender individuals have long been a thread in India's cultural fabric. This presence woven into the nation's spiritual and social tapestry. Yet, colonial legacies and modern prejudice have strained this thread, challenging the nation to live up to its pluralistic ideals. As India progresses, the inclusion of transgender voices through legal reforms, cultural reclamation, uh, this journey is not merely a matter of policy, but a reclamation of India's own historical ethos, where gender fluidity was once a sacred expression of human condition. This religions, this religions, these religions of transgender communities fracture but a strength. Their story urges India to look inward, to reconcile its past with its present, and to envision a future where their identity finds a place within a collective whole. In this way, the transgender community not only reflects India's past but also shapes its future, proving that the essence of unity lies in honoring the full spectrum of the diversity. Thank you so much, sir. Hello, hello. Am I audible? Yes, yes, sir. Anything, sir? Anything? Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
or that might be any of the excuse me, that might be your thesis or any of the article which you are planning to write. The research problems comes in our mind. So when we talk about any research problem, so specifically it is talking about any particular gap which is not there. So today with that particular note, I'll be going to start my session. So let me share my slides with you all. I hope my slides are visible to everyone and I am, like audible to everyone. Yes, ma'am. And discussion, and the last one is conclusion. So we have seen the step-by-step writing the review, the research paper. In this, all these steps, we talk about the most important is the review of literature, which helps you to understand what has been done earlier and what needs to be done. What is the gap between what is there and what is not there? So what is not there, what is not done till now, that is a research gap. And that research gap creates so many things or and identifying the gap, we can decide upon our final objectives. And after identifying the object, we will be able to create the hypothesis or form the hypothesis. So, whenever we want to identify any of the research problem, we have to go through various steps. Now, basically, a research problem is a definite and a clear expression about an area of concern. Basically, any condition which needs to be improved, and it can be any difficulty which needs to be eliminated, or a troubling question which you are having in your mind while you are doing in literature. So basically, in the existing practice, if you are doing something, that points need to be answered or that needs to be answered in a meaningful way to understand and deliberate the action. So this is all about the research problem. If we talk about any, like how to select how to select a research problem, so how we can do that? So let's see, selection of a research problem. First one, you have to see, is the research problem relevant and important? Whether it is associated with your problems or the things which you are having in your mind. Does the subject area suits to his interest? Basically, you have to see where you are having, what you are having in your mind in the beginning. You must be having some idea about it. Then you have to see whether the subject area suits to your interest. Still, it is like relevant. What you were thinking in your mind, what you were having in your mind about the subject, about the things to do, you were having in your mind from the very beginning. So still, is that area or the subject area still suits to your interest or not? Then does it contain any originality or creativeness? This is one of the major thing which you have to understand nowadays. There is an issue regarding what? Regarding the plagiarism. So if we talk about the plagiarism issue, so what you have to understand is that your title, your subject area, your interest area, or whatever you are planning to research on should be original. It should not be plagiarized. It should have some creative new topic which you are planning to study. So whenever you are selecting any research problem, again you have to understand that it should be original enough to work upon. Then does the problem requires extension of knowledge? It simply means one thing, that you are not a god. It doesn't, and if you are a teacher, it does not mean you are a subject expert of something. It does not mean that you know everything. So first of all, maybe that problem really requires your extension of knowledge, understanding on that particular topic or that subject. Now, next one, we talk about steps in the formulation of a research problem. So first you have to identify your field. Then you have to go for the deeper side, and you have to see that you have to select the interested sub area. Then you have to assess the objectives. Then you have to formulate the objectives. and finally you have to raise the questions. So these questions are going to become your research problem. Then if we talk about the characteristics of a good research problem, there can be so many. Like it should be feasible enough, and it should be relevant, and the problem should be important, and it should have potential that it can be easily customized itself with the various theory and practices. Also, it should be interesting so that people or researchers can genuinely take the interest, and they can have a passion on the work on working on researching on that particular topic till the last. That interest should be maintained till the last. The research problem should be well defined and avoid the ambiguity. Also, there is one thing should be there, that this problem should be feasible enough so that all the resources one person is having, or whatever the available resources there with the that particular person or researcher, that they should they are able to get those resources. Also, they should follow a timeline. A time constraint should be there where they can understand the right thing to do and to get the research insights. Also, the problem should offer an opportunity to contribute new knowledge and insights. Always, you should try to understand that your research problem, your idea behind the research, should give something to the society and to the stakeholders. It should contribute something to the stakeholders, basically, and it should add some knowledge and insight to that particular research area. Also, it should have a contribution in all these aspects where the research is falling. Also, there is one more thing I would like to discuss, that you can find out or you can get the research problem from various sources, like maybe some existing theories, also maybe from the review of literature. Whenever you are reading some review of literature, looking at the gaps, research gaps, you can find out where to investigate and what to be investigated. Then personal or practical experiences can be they can identify different problems based on their own experiences and the observations. Also, researchers may identify the problems, or research problems can be identified based on real world issues, so that they can address and they would like to address those issues, and that research can be done in further way. So let's talk about review of literature. Now, if we talk about the review of literature, what is it? Yeah, before review literature, one more thing I would like to say about the research problems statements, what we are having, that it should be specific, should be very much relevant. Basically, it should be what exactly you want to research on. And then the clarity, it should be feasible enough and also have some significance. Means whenever there is a research problem, it should have clear statement which can address various problems or the problem which needs to be identified. And it should have a clear meaning, or should have a clarity to communicate, and it should be effective enough whenever we are reading it to understand what they want to study. And also it should investigate what are the problems. Everything should be investigated, and as per the time frame and per the requirement, it should be feasible. Also, it should tell the importance and a potential impact of addressing the problem. So, basically, a problem statement can be number of things, and it should also connect it with your aims and objective. So now let's talk about the review of literature. As the name says, review of literature. So literature which is already existing in this world for different subjects and excuse me, existing in this world, and there are various things which are happening, and people are doing number of types of research and they are publishing their work. And on the basis of that work, we can see what has been done and what is still needs to be identified, how it can be resolved. So basically, a review of literature is the summary of all the reviews from various research literatures, which is related to current study and carried out by a researcher. Basically, it helps to discover what is already known about the research problem and what more has to be done, which I have already told you. Research review of literature or literature review helps us to discover what is already there and what needs to be done. So there the gap can be identified. Then the material gathered in the review of literature should be included as a part of the research data, since it influences the problem and research design. It can be used to compare the results and finding for the study. So basically, a literature review is a comprehensive survey and analysis of existing scholarly or research works on a specific topic, which is providing an overview of current knowledge, then identifying relevant theories and methods. And one thing in the last it is doing that is very much important, highlighting the gaps in the research. Now, a literature review is an assessment of a body of research that addresses a research question. Basically, we may have some questions in our mind to do the research, but whenever we are doing the review of literature related to that research question or problem, it gives the refinement in the research question. So it is just not the summary. It is just not a critical evaluation of something. It is just not evaluating the sources. It is just not analyzing information. But everything what we can do is, you know, writing or reading the review of literature and structuring your reviews so that you can understand clearly and concisely that what exactly should be the research question and the objectives. So it is an organized written presentation of what has been published on a topic by the scholars. And we talk about the resources of the review of literature. So there can be so many. It can be books, it can be journals, articles, conference papers, any literatures. Also, there can be some research paper, reports, any kind of reviews, review papers, then conference papers, again, other reports, conference reports, government documents, published or non-published commercial materials. Basically, it this can include unpublished and non-commercial materials. Like, see, as you already know that you go and get attend the seminars and go check the conferences and you provide your papers. So conference papers can be the conference proceedings, can be there any kind of reports, and specifically the government documents and the government information is always we find it ethical and also authentic as well. There can be some online databases like, for example, JSTOR, also ProQuest and Google Scholar, so that we can find relevant material to it. Then books can be textbooks, monographs, and other scholarly books, basically, which can provide or they can give in-depth information on your topic. So, there can be magazines and newspaper, there can be e-database, books, journals, conference paper, theses, encyclopedia and dictionary research reports. And nowadays, because we have internet, so also internet is an important source from where we can get the articles and abstract, and it can be downloaded for the purpose. Now, we talk about the characteristics of a good review of literature. Then we see a good literature review must be comprehensive first. Then it should include up-to-date references. It should be systematic. It should be free from the biases. It should be well written. It should be in the form of sum of its parts. Also, it should be clearly searched and selected. Then, accurate references should be given in the review. Now, let me come to these points. If we talk about the literature review, it should have a detailed information about something, but depending on what you're writing a research paper or research proposal or any synopsis or anything like thesis or any notes or any particular class assignment. So that depends, and you have to decide upon review of literature that it can be comprehensive enough. It should include up-to-date references, means all the literatures from the beginning till today should be included. Obviously, it may be possible that very recent papers will not be included, or should have recent literature should be named in the last, maybe, and you forgot that. In that case, what happens? You have to see that whether those references are up to date or not. Also, the references citation should be given in the last to get the proper answer. Then, if we talk about it should be free from the biases. You should not have something in your mind before you go to the next step and to understand the review of literature. Then, accurate reference should be given in the review. Means all the in-text citations should be entertained. The people should understand why it is important. Basically, to ignore the plagiarism. So you should not select the idea. If you're having some idea, put it on the WhatsApp. You'll see how many topics are there already on the existing literature, and you can change the new one. Now let's talk about the purpose of the review of literature. So basically, it helps to identify what is already known and what is not known. What we will be doing is to understand this, that if it is known to everyone, okay, but there are some people and researchers are discussing that this is not available. But what can be done? We have to do some research. So if it is which is already known about a research problem, it helps to understand that review of literature specifically, and it helps to build on previous knowledge. It enhances your knowledge on that particular title, which was previously done. Many published research studies contain recommendation for the future research, from which we can get the idea for the new research study. About this, I would like to say one thing, that yes, sometimes even I don't read my research paper, which is already there, because so many people, other people are messaging me for the purpose of understanding that how it can be done, what is the right way. Students are approaching that how it can be done. So there is no specific way, but yes, you can do it by or understand it by, like, whenever you are doing a literature review, let me tell you, simply download some of the papers and start reading those, and you will get to understand how they have written their review of literature. And out of those review of literature, you will see that there is a gap they have written, and out of that gap, how they have made the research question. And accordingly, they have defined the research objectives. And that objective only led to the writing the hypothesis and analysis for the paper. So basically, it is necessary to narrow the problem to be studied. There can be so many things, but obviously we cannot study everything. What we want to study, we have to understand and start work on. How to write a review of literature. If we talk about this, how to write, so there can be two different ways. One is chronological order. Another one is number one is chronological. Another one is thematic. So number in the first one, that in the chronological one, it is talking about the time. So it can be in the ascending order or it can be in the descending order. Means you can write down your literature reviews chronologically from latest to the oldest, or oldest to the oldest to the newest. It can be like something like you can put it like in a theme way, based on the themes. Like it can be like studies related to quantitative study and qualitative study. It can be related to cities or any particular area, or it can be in the perspective of national, international, global level perspectives. It can be divided on the basis of decades as well, like from the 2001 to 2010, 2011 to 2014. Also, that was that can be from like any of the decades you can choose, any other time frame you can choose. You can divide it in two parts, 90s and 20s or something like this. Whatever you feel like, you can do it. Also, different themes can follow the chronological order. Then we talk about the structure of a literature review. So every literature should include the introduction, what methods that particular researcher has followed, what is the body means, what they have done, what methods they were doing, and then what they have done in the discussion we have to write, and what was the conclusion of this paper. So everything from the beginning till the end should be concise in one paragraph or two paragraphs to understand whether it has been answered your questions or not. Then a reference. Every step, everything is talking about the referencing. So that's another session which we are going to have about it. But yes, this is very much important to understand whether how it can be done and how it can be managed. Like writing the literature review and making the references, creating the references and writing it in a proper way. So basically, these are the steps which you have to follow. You have to write the introduction, you have to set the context, then you have to provide the information about the field of the study. Also, you have to focus on the review of literature. Then if we talk about the methods, a chronological model, it helps readers basically to understand the approach and describe the criteria which used to select the sources. If we talk about the body, in the chronological order, it can have various paragraphs, different paragraphs or different time frames can be studied. A thematic model can be followed based on subtopics. Then discussion and conclusion. So in the discussion, you have to summarize, and conclusion, you have to summarize basically the main contribution of the studies. You have to raise and discuss the question about the topic of the field, and it should clearly mention am I audible? Can somebody please confirm? Yes.
Yes, you are audible.
Yes. Yes. If we talking about yeah, thank you so much. If we talk about discussion and conclusions, we have to summarize the main contribution of various studies which has been done already in this area. You have to raise and discuss the question about the particular topic and the field. Also, you have to clearly mention the gaps which are there in the research. So if there is any, so then you have to also write the possible, or you have to see the possible suggestions which have been given in that particular study for the further research. So I'll be talking about this point now. See, whenever you are looking at any of the study and they are looking at writing the gaps. So whenever you are even doing a research, you are not a god, so you cannot do everything in a single paper. Sometimes we try to find out number of things in a single paper, but what I suggest that you should also you should take only one or two objective, and you should go as much as deep you can go, and you can talk about, or you can discuss about, or you can write about it. So basic subject, basic topics can be included, but yes, you have to understand this thing, that those things are very much important, that whenever you are writing a paper, you will see that have you can do like this in your paper also. Next one is limitations of the study. Employer, employee, any particular body which is included. So important thing which is there, that is future research scopes. Conclusion has its own extended parts, which has number one, which is limitations of the study. Then second one is suggestions and recommendation. Third one, which we are talking about, that is implications of the study. And the last one comes as future research scope. So whenever you are lagging behind somewhere, you are not able to complete your something, you can write it in the future research scope, that this also can be investigated or can be done by any of the researcher further in their own studies. So whenever you are reading a paper, what you can do, in the last you can see that every paper has a further research scope or future research scope. On the basis of that also, you can take idea on reframing your research problem. And the last one comes as reference list. So whenever we are doing all this, you have to prepare our reference list, which includes all the citations or the authors which you have mentioned in your study. Proper numbering and the footnote should be given to that. And the last one comes as that every important detail of all the sources you are referring, you should mention the references. If we talk about steps in writing the review of literature, so first you have to select the topic, then you have to search the literature. Once the literature is selected, like obviously, you have to find out that what is your interest area basically. So once you are done or you are roughly done with your topic, you have to start searching your literature. Then you have to develop the arguments, that what can be done, and then surveying the literature. Also, you have to critique the literature so that you can identify the exact research gap, and that should not mislead you. Then finally writing the review. Concluding the review of literature. Number one, you have to summarize the ideas, you have to summarize the conflicts, and also you have to summarize the themes and the historical periods. As I have already told you that people are doing different types of themes, thematic review of literature. Then relate or contextualize your thesis with the work reported in literature. So basically what happens, that whenever you are doing or conceptualizing your thesis or in research work, so that should be there in the literature. Then point out the gap in the scholarship, or so how your research helps or fill the gaps. So you have to conclude the literature in that way. Then if we talk about the transition, that literature review should be connected with the next chapter, means it should include the pace that it can connect it with the next chapter. So obviously it happens in general that whenever you're deciding on research gaps, so you have to find out the objective as well. So that comes in the next chapter. So it gives the idea on how it can be done. Now, there are so many things. People ask about the length of the literature review. So, first of all, as such, there is no specific pages about the review of literature. Still, you think that how and what page number should be there, how many pages should be there. So, I'm just giving you a tentative idea, but I'm not saying that it is fixed because every research is unique, and you know it better in a better way that how much data you want to include, which kind of data you can include. So first, as a part of PhD thesis or MSc thesis, literature review will be comprehensive and it should cover all the important topics. Then as a proposal, if we talk about, it also covers, it should be comprehensive, but it should cover all the aspects related to the research and reasonably comprehensive. Means these PhD, MSc dissertations, they are having a vast discussion over it. But if we talk about the proposal of the project, it should be reasonably comprehensive. If there is something which is not important at all, it you can make you can include some things, but it should not be very much less. As a part of a research paper or research report, a literature review covers the major work which also work which also done major work that has been done on the topic recently, but also does not try to identify all the research on the subject. Obviously you cannot cover each and everything, but at least you can cover the major parts which has been done on that particular study. The subject research. So basically, you have to decide. You are writing a thesis or dissertation, you are writing a proposal or a project synopsis, you are writing a research report or a paper, it can be done. Until unless there is no page limit, page foundation, so you should decide it by yourself that you should not write anything whichever you like, but you should also think what can be done in this particular thing, that particular research which you are having. If we talk about some points to remember whenever we are writing a review of literature, so first, the review literature must be written in a formal way, in an academic style. It should keep writing clear and concisely that that whenever you are writing it, it should include each and everything very properly. You should not use personal language, WhatsApp language. You should use proper words. Also, it always aim to be the objective and respectful to the other's opinion. This is not the place for any emotional or emotive languages which has strong personal opinions. Then, when introducing to the literature review, and we are writing the literature review, so whenever you are introducing them, that person's all the information should come in the last. Sometimes you must have seen some of the paper which is including information on the last information on the research person's biography or details in the last, including their information related to their qualification, their research work or research publications. So it can also have that. So always you have to aim to be respectful to the others opinions, because every person you can see their research profile, and accordingly you should give proper respect to their opinions. You should not give any strong personal opinion if you are not liking it. Like, you cannot say that it was rubbish. You should not use any bad words about someone. That yes, you can write that. Obviously it is not suiting to your research, so you cannot either you can ignore it, or you can write in that way that it can be avoided. So when introducing someone's opinion, just don't say says or something like that. You should use such point of views like properly, and also you can use such words like argues, claims, and states. So your literature review should present your synthesis of your previous research and lay the information foundation for the understanding and research and appreciating its value. So, if we talk about various sources of your literature review or like writing it, there can be various um, text sources. There can be other virtual sources can be there, and obviously there can be some evaluation criteria should be included. It should include or connect with your methodology. You should see the relevance of the source. Also, there should not be any biases when you are doing it. Also, you should assess whether the author's arguments are supported or not. Also, you should consider the author expertise in that particular area, how they are doing it. And whatever they have done, there is something which was proper, and they have successfully done the analysis and came out with the results. So you should use it. So whenever you are writing a review of literature, it is just not a summary. It can go beyond that, and you should simply you can list down the information, and you can analyze that information. Then you can organize the structure, which typically follows like introduction, body, paragraph, already as I have discussed. Then you have to go for a critical evaluation, and which is talking about the strength and weaknesses of different studies and perspectives. That is the main idea of doing the review of literature, that you can understand others' perspective too. What about your topic, which has been already studies already have been done. Focus on the synthesis, which aims to present a coherent and insightful overview. And rather than simply listing the individual studies, you have to understand what exactly they were putting the focus on. So, there can be some research questions or research topic can be there, and you can identify scope of that particular review of literature. Then you can also use inclusion and exclusion criteria, deciding on the based of sources which are relevant for your study. Also, you can conduct a thorough research using different databases and resources to find out the relevant literature. Then you can evaluate your sources by assessing different credibility. You can do it on the basis of methodology and the relevance, how much relevant it is. Then last one is synthesis and analysis of the sources and databases. Also, there is about the gaps in the literature. Also, there is one thing I would like to focus on, that whenever you are doing all this literature review thing, you should outline and write your literature review properly in a proper structured way, which looks logical and also connected with your present study. Also, it should be there in a clear and concise manner. Then there is one more thing I would like to discuss about the review of literature, that you should avoid the plagiarism. Whenever you are writing the review of literature, all the times you should avoid plagiarizing your sources. You should totally avoid that you are copying somebody else's data, taking somebody else's work without taking their names, without putting their names in the reference, or you are not putting their names in the citation, index citations. So always try to do that. Always separate your source opinion from their hypothesis, and make sure you are consistently reference the literature you are referring to. When you are doing your research and reading it, you can make the notes. You can use different colors or themes or different pages to write, or different sheets to write, and distinguish between your ideas and other ideas. So first you have to define the research question, then criteria should be decided. You can choose different sources and databases from you are taking this. Also, you should review your literature and analyze the information to write the review of literature. So a literature review is basically a piece of
the citation does matters for all of us. So previously, yesterday we had already discussed for the academic integrity. Academic integrity, in a sense, we have to shake hands with each other. As I already mentioned, that research is a networking activity. Today is a day that you have to cite others, authors, because you are a researcher, you are authors, to draft your paper, right? But tomorrow, once you are doing this practice with utmost care and, full of gist and energy, and your paper is getting published into good quality journals, right? And tomorrow you will be the receiver of the citation. So that is where it is going to be beneficial to us, right? So that is where the importance of citations are always going to be increased in that senses, right? So that is where academic integrity. Second is to avoid plagiarism, right? So whenever we are fighting with the plagiarism in a sense, the copy and paste content, right? So as I already mentioned, there are certain theories, there are certain punchlines which we cannot change it, right? That doesn't mean that it is a copy paste. But although the plagiarism software is always considered to be on the copy paste, right? So yeah, it is not like that you cannot do it. But if at all you are doing it, it is your responsibility to give the credit to that particular person who has given this particular consent, right? So to avoid plagiarism, again, the references is going to play a significant role. And ultimately, facilitating research in a sense, not only for one particular content for which you are talking about, but also if at all you need to search out rest of the parameters after having the citations and reference management, then with the utilization of that particular proper reference management, you can again go to that article. And if at all you feel that certain more things needs to be explored from that article, so it is quite possible with the utilization of effective reference management through the Zotero, right? So Zotero is helping out in this three aspect: academic integrity management, avoiding plagiarisms for the articles, and ultimately facilitating research, right? So you can do the research freely with least efforts and more accurately, more properly. That is where the accurate referencing will come into picture. Challenges faced in organizing research material. So whatsoever challenges that you are facing, if at all you are going for utilizing, reference management. So complexity of resources. First of all, yesterday you had one of the, the participants has asked me the question that, sir, if at all we want to change the format of references in Zotero, so is it manually or automatic? So I had already mentioned that it is automatically. If at all you are going for manual, it is very tedious task. And although you must make a mistake, that is for sure, because you cannot make the proper, focused on all such parameters to be get changed and, converted into rest of the formats, right? So that is where the complexity of sources is always be there in terms of the format, in terms of the requirements. So if at all you are not going with the software management, then it is very difficult to do these things on a manual basis. So that is where Zotero plays a significant role. Need for organization. So organization need means, completely in the format, all the parameters properly drafted, in the sequences and, the properly managed, right? So that is where the need of organization. Consistency and accuracy, right? Consistency and accuracy means, whenever you draft a paper line by line, through the systematic literature review, so all those resources that you need to cite it, can immediately cite it, right? You don't have to go for search it out the paper. You don't have to go for insert references. You don't have to go for, each parameters to go into insert references. But the moment you type the name of the article itself is available for the citation process and at the same time to be acknowledged in the part of references. So that is what the benefit we are getting it. Time management. So obviously, if your entire work is going on, from manual to automatic system, so obviously your efforts have been saved, your time has been saved, ultimately your boredom has been saved, and at the same time, your efficiency in the work is tremendous through the utilization of Zotero as a reference management, right? So this is what the benefit we are receiving. Right. So these are the, various reference management softwares, that we can always go for it if at all, we are looking for. So today we are learning Zotero, which is one of the best software for the reference management, right? So features of Zotero. So if at all you are using Zotero, what are the features that we have to look forward? So firstly, whenever you are going for the importing references, that means if at all you have any papers, right? I hope you are not aware about it, but yes, in Zotero, if at all you need to import references, you can import either the PDF material, or you can either import through the links of the paper. You can either import the papers through ISSN number. You can either import the papers through the title of the paper, right? So these are the different way out through which you can import the references, right? So that is where the different parameters of importing references are available with this Zotero. And most importantly, you can utilize all these parameters in a sense, in whatever sense that you have that references in your record, you can utilize it. It is not required that you need DOI number. It is not required that you need only physical copy. But in whatever sense that you have that data, you can inject those data into Zotero and you can have the citations and references. And in Zotero also, you can also organize your references. You can manage your topic of the preference research that you are doing to do it. You can make your folders. You can also make subfolders. Let's say if I'm doing some research on behavioral finances. So behavioral finance is the topic of my title of my topic, right? But under the title, let's say I have various parameters, or rather I can say I have multiple variables to be tested as a part of behavioral finances study. So I need to go for either I can go for, what I can say is, I can go for anchoring biases. I might have herding biases, I might have cognitive biases, right? So these all are the biases that I have to see to it, right? So again, from main topic to subtopics, if I need to forward and if I need to proceed, again, I have to go for that particular aspect, right? So that is where the citation generation process is going to happen. And collaboration and integration, right? So you collaborate with each other in terms of the reference management, and integration means to integrate your efforts in different manners, in different genres, right? Through which the proper and effective reference management could be possible. Yeah, so these are the various features that you have to see. Okay, now the downloading process, you can go for it, right? So I hope you all have completed. So Zotero 6 for Windows, you have to download. And Zotero connector, as I already mentioned, that it is a connector of Google Chrome. You always download this connector. So whenever you need to activate, you don't have to go into software and activate. You just open the Google Chrome and activate it, right? So it will activate it for taking all the references from the Google Scholar or any of the website that you are going for. Yeah. So I hope this both two parameters has been successfully downloaded by everyone. Yes or no? Till now, any doubt in this case, please let me know. Then we'll proceed for Zotero now. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And has any doubt? Okay, fine. Yeah. So now we will move forward to the Zotero. Right. So Zotero connector we have already seen. Right now, this is Zotero. Let's go to the window, and you just open this Zotero. Right. So you open this Zotero. Right. So just click on it. So the Zotero software will open. Everyone, please do it with me. Right. So it would be hands-on practice. That's why we have kept 2 days, so that you should not have any doubt as far as the application of that particular software is concerned. Okay, so your Zotero seems like this, everyone. It is looking like this, yes or no? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you see these slides, slide by slide, try to understand, So let's say if you want to create new folder, right? Let's say if you want to do some research on online banking, right? Let's change the topic. If you want to do some research on online banking, right? So I need to create this folder from here. Let's say my research topic for this paper is online banking. So